Hello everyone, this is Denise Love. Welcome back, and I thought today I'd work some more in our media journal. You know it's my goal to finish this book. So we got quite a few pages left to do. And today, this is the spread we just finished. That yummy one there, which I still love. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. This is the other side of that page. And we've gotten to a craft paper page. And so what I am doing is just painting this page with clear gesso so that my paint sits on top rather than soaking in, because you'll remember that layout that we did a while back. As I get gesso everywhere, this layout that we did back here, if we don't gesso the page, the paint sinks in kind of like a stain, which has a really cool look unto itself. So that is a good look. But what I'm thinking on this page, and we've gessoed some also, is I want to paint on top of it, and the clear gesso it'll dry clear on us. So I'm just covering it. It's like paint primer to your wall. It just gives you a surface that's primed and ready to paint on top of, and then it won't soak into the paper. And then I started to paint it, and then I thought, well, I could tell you I did it, or I could just talk for a second while I was doing it. So now I'm going to let this dry, and I'll be right back and we'll get started. I'm going to do a 2-page spread today. Let's do a color palette challenge today. I'm going to work with card 101 with these yummy blues and teals and greens. I pulled this out of Color Cube Box 1 by Sarah Renee Clark. And just a reminder, I do link everything below the videos for you. And I've just pulled some colors that, you know, kind of matched. I've got indigo blue for this dark blue, because I'm kind of thinking watercolor on one page, acrylic on another page, and experiment again with, you know, the differences in the paint mediums. This is a cream, and I've pulled out kind of a Naples yellow. It's called Prairie Sunset. This is my little infusion furniture paints, but you can use any paint. Craft paint's fine, whatever paint works for you. I just pulled out colors that kind of matched well enough. This is Chesler in the Fusion paint for that kind of yummy blue. Pulled out this Blick matte paint in the aqua, which is a little more green than that is, but I don't mind. Also pulled out Seaside in that Fusion paint for that blue, and then I pulled out indigo for this really dark one, and I thought, let's just do that. I may change that up. And then I've pulled out my Daniel Smith paints, which I don't pull out very often, but I did get these Art Toolkit palettes that I showed off in an art haul. And I have put all my Daniel Smiths in these palettes. I have a third palette with the pinks. And then I made color swatch of all of the colors that I have, and then I have some blank spots for some extra colors, because I find that I never use the Daniel Smith. They're in tubes, they're in a drawer, I don't think about them, they're not as easy to pull out as the Kuritakis, and I've decided that I don't like little tiny paint pans of paint of these, the little half pans. I don't like those. I've decided I like those big fat Kuritake pans. And so when I saw these little Art Toolkit pans, they're still, you know, little slender pans, but their big long shape really appeals to me, because I really liked that in the Kuritake. So I'm thinking in this blue palette we can pull right out of our blue-green colors. And so I feel that because I have these in this format right here at my desk that I can pull right off the shelf, that I can get back to using these, because I just tend to forget about them since I don't think to pull the tubes out all the time. And then I've also got my metallics here that maybe we can just kind of play in. And so I think what I'm going to do on this side is have my colors here for inspiration and do an abstract piece on this side. This is my number 4 Princeton Neptune, and I'm looking for my little spray bottle here. We kind of activate these, and then we'll just see, you know, what we end up with. It doesn't have to be anything specific. I just kind of just want to see where we go. Let's activate that gold right there. And I'm just going to keep my color palette card kind of handy where I can reference the colors. I can already see on my palette here that, you know, I've got this yummy colors right here that are kind of along this line. I've got this yummy dark color here, which is Payne's Gray, so it's like this line. So I'm just going to, this is a pretty color, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's Terra Verde. That's really pretty. Really, any of these are really pretty. This is Titan, Buff Titan down here. I've also got white on here, but you obviously can't see it. Kind of thinking this color right here really is like that middle color, so that is Sleeping Beauty. So you know what, why don't we start with Sleeping Beauty, and you can see I can just get my brush right down in the top of that. I'm not really worried about contaminating colors. That doesn't bother me, in case you're wondering. I just don't worry about that. And I kind of want to protect the page under it just in case the edges, because you know, maybe we don't want blue on the painting below it. So let's just put that wax paper in there. And it's kind of fun to dig into some Daniel Smiths that I have not used in forever, just because I just forget they're there and then don't think about them, because the Kuritakis are so super easy and convenient to pull out. I mean, it's just ridiculous. When something's convenient, you grab for it. So if you're not grabbing for your tools enough and you're kind of thinking, why don't I ever pull these out? Maybe you haven't made it convenient. Convenience is the key. Let's just use our scraper. You know, I've just decided I love the scraper. And I've had this for like years and years and years. It's not like it's brand new. All right, so that was Sleeping Beauty. What did we do with our card here? So let's see. That was Sleeping Beauty. I love that. I love this really dark green here too. That's pretty. I know that we thought this Payne's Gray. Let's go ahead with the Payne's Gray. Whoa! See, I just love it. It's just a bigger surface, and that to me has been the drawback in pulling these out. And so I took all the tubes and filled these little pots, and then I can always come back later as I use them and refill them. So, and I like that these are so tiny that you can basically put these in your purse or your pocket. You can just take them with you. They're super convenient in the size. They're like super thin, super convenient. I love it. I love it. All right, let's do some spreading here. Roar. Oh, I like it. Oh my gosh. You know, I could just stop right here with these two colors and I would love this piece. I'm almost wanting to go up here to this color right here, which I know is, let's see, what is that color? It's 3 over from the top. So that is Kingman Green. It's kind of in the color palette. It's like that lighter, that middle color again, but I'm feeling it. So let's just go with where that inspiration is leading us. If you see a color and you're like, oh, I really want to use that, take it. Do it. And then you might be surprised with where you go. This is why I like to start with a color palette. There's nothing saying that you have to stick to it, but could definitely get you going down the road of whatever you were meant to create that day and get you past the, what colors do I use? I don't know where to start. Whoa, look at that. Oh my goodness. Okay, already loving this. And we've got some Buff Titan down here. We could put some of that in there. Let's get that. Ooh, look at that. It's mixing a little with the colors. I like that too. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is already a good paint day and I hadn't even got to the other page. I'm feeling it. Whoa! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, okay, so now really. We've got most of these colors except for maybe that blue there. I don't know if any of these really match that blue, but that's okay. Oh, maybe we can do that one right there. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. 2, 3, 4, 5. Indigo. Indigo! It's indigo. We're going to call it indigo. Let's just do it. Let's just see what we got here. Yeah, looks like a paint gray. Okay. That's okay. Alright. Indigo and Payne's gray are very similar. Okay, now I'm kind of thinking, I feel like I'm there with that right there. I'm kind of thinking that, oh, we didn't do any gold in there. We could have. Alright, let's grab some of the gold. I'm feeling gold today. Ooh, we can come back on here with some gold on top. Like a little bit of gold stencil work. But I do like the watercolor gold a little bit because it'll just be some underlying shimmer that you're like, ooh, what is that? What is there? Okay, I'm loving that. Good paint day already. Okay, I'm kind of feeling like I need some marking. So now, look how these, you just shut that up. It's so tiny and pretty. Art Toolkit, these are amazing. You can order the different size palettes. You can order different size little pans to fill these with. And I kind of feel like these might be like a quarter size pan in quantity because of the way they're made. And they're just magnetic. They just stick in there and pull right out. And then you can fill it up and then they set back in there. I mean, it's genius. I love these little palettes so much. And then when you're done, I have laminated these little cards and painted on the front and wrote on the back what it was. And it's got like a little mixing palette up here. And then when you're done, you can just close it up, put it away. How genius are those? Freaking love those little things. And now I'm going to get out the Daniel Smith more because, you know, I got a lot of colors and they're just over there in the drawer, lonely. Alright, just doing a little bit of mark making because I'm inspired to do some marking. Doesn't have to be too much, just a little bit coming in here and there. I could also, because this paper dents when it's wet, we could just see, is there any area to mark make and just slice into that paper. Basically, it's my little plastic knife. I'm not really pressing that hard, but I am just hard enough to make a dent in wet areas. And that looks pretty cool, so I like it. Just another layer with some marks. It's only going to work where the paper's still slightly wet. So once it dries, you won't really see it. That's pretty cool. I'm liking that. Good choice. Good choice. Now I want to do something maybe a little bit on top of there. Let me look around at my stencils. Maybe we just do some punchinella. I love my punchinella. Got it in a couple sizes, just sequin waste. We could do white. Or we could do gold. See, we did gold over here. I'm almost thinking maybe we should do white. Because the gold is real pretty on these little octagons. But we want all the pages to look a little different. So, and I want this to dry. I do like letting watercolor sit and kind of do its thing. But at some point, it's almost dry, which... this is almost dry except right there in the middle. And at the point that it's almost dry, I feel like we could just help finish it up. And even if you can't find the punchinella metallic stuff, there's plenty of punchinella. There's plenty of punchinella stencils out there. If you look up punchinella stencil, there's some that Ranger makes. And I'm just going to pull out my titanium white paint. This is, it says it's opaque. It's mostly opaque when you use it with a stencil. And I'm just going to get me a art sponge. You can use a makeup sponge. You can use a brush. And I'm just going to go ahead with my paint and my punchinella. I don't want them to be, there's what I wanted. I don't want them to be uniform or standard. I don't go wall to wall here with the stencil. I just kind of pick and choose a little bit here and there, organically, basically. Ooh, I love it, I love it. Okay, that's what I wanted. Not too much, just a little bit. Let's throw that into some water. I just throw the sponges in water till I'm ready to go wash them. And then I feel like we're there on this side. So this page has had time to dry, and I kind of want to go ahead and clamp it down a little bit because it's got a tiny bit of a curl as it dried. When we shut the book, that curl will go away, but I don't want that curl in my way while I'm painting. So let's just bull clip it down. Now I'm kind of feeling like, still got the stencil over there, we could still stencil some stuff. Kind of feeling like, just open these little pots of paint. It's going to look a little different than the other side, but I do want to use the similar colors. Alright, I'm just going to pull out my Princeton Umbria number 8 brush and just get started. I got my handy dandy scraper over here because look how beautiful that color is. This is Chesler in those Fusion furniture paints, which they're mineral paints. So this is not a piece of art that I'm selling to anybody. This is my art journal that I'm playing and experimenting in, and really with most of the art that I do, I keep it so I don't worry about what the paint is that I'm using. I don't generally like student grade paints anymore because you get what you pay for. Cheap paint is a cheap paint, and so I'd rather use a furniture paint than a cheap craft paint or an inexpensive. Why did I do that? Look at that. Who does that? Sticks their finger right into the paint. I'd rather use something like a cool furniture paint or something like that over any kind of like cheap craft paint or cheap watercolor or anything like that, because they just don't have any pigment in them because they're cheap. You get what you pay for. It's like using a cheap paper to learn on. You know, when you're a student, definitely get the cheap supplies, but as you progress in your art, start getting supplies that you actually love, that inspire you to do things, because if you're not inspired to use the products you have, you're not going to use them. You're not going to come up here into your art room and paint because it's not inspiring to do that, and really yummy art supplies are inspiring to me. And so I just don't think about, if I'm selling this to somebody, is it light fast? I just don't think about these things, but I do like to play in nice supplies because they work different. Oh, look at that. Okay, I'm kind of liking it. Didn't mean to put that blue down yet, so let's just get some more of that in there now. Look at that. Oh! You can do any of these in any of your paints though. If you got craft paint, go for it. If you've got those Blick matte paints in the right colors, or you want to mix your colors, go for it. I sometimes like doing lots of mixing, and sometimes I just want to play without thinking about the mixing, so these little Fusion paints just happen to be like the most perfect colors for me. I love them. Alright, let me set that to the side. Look at that. Yum! Okay, kind of feel like there's too much paint on that brush. Let's just throw that into water. Got another one. Where's it at? Come to me. There it is. Okay, now I'm feeling like, set that right there. Let's get the blue out. Ooh, I stuck that way down in there, didn't I? What? Some of these are at the bottom and some of these are right there to the top, I guess. Oh, such a mess. might say, why am I using this big bowl scraper? No other reason than I love it. That's why I love it. Love the way it moves the paint around. I love the way it kind of smooths out paintbrush lines. I just like it. You don't have to use it or anything like it if that's not your thing. Okay, that's pretty fun. Now I'm kind of thinking, all right, I got way too much paint everywhere. Let me get a shop towel here. Alright, we're just going to clean this off for a moment because I got too much paint and not enough space. And as I'm thinking and looking, now we didn't do the yellow. Okay, didn't do our yellow. I don't need the yellow. I'm feeling good without the yellow. Let me tell you why. Because this paper kind of looks like that yellow for me. Now I'm thinking mark making. Should we mark make with the Payne's Gray? I'm kind of feeling like we could do some yummy, or is this indigo? This might be indigo. Kind of feeling like we could do some yumminess here. Doesn't have to be a lot. I'm kind of liking that right there. And look how dark this one is compared to how light the other one is. Now I feel like I need to let that dry, and I could do some other marks, but let's let that dry while we think about it. It could be done. It could be. Let's just let it dry a little bit, and I'm gonna think for a moment, and I'll be right back. All right, this, when you're painting with the ink like this, that's the only thing I think that's not completely dry. There's a little bit of paint not dry, but we're a lot closer. But this we'll have to like walk away from and let this dry a little bit longer if you do something like this with the ink. But what I wanted to maybe consider doing was possibly some dots, maybe some black dots, maybe just kind of something to finish it off. And I've got Posca pens and stuff back here that I was kind of thinking that we could come back in here and maybe just do a few dots as an extra kind of homage to the Punchinella over here, but be a little different. So I'm kind of thinking just a few here and there might be a fun extra texture on our piece. Or you could leave it like until the next day and come back and be like, okay, it's finally dry. What do I want to do? You could just kind of feel that out for your piece, whatever you're working on. But I'm kind of feeling like black Posca dots is what I wanted to. Oh, see, that was still wet. Eek, that was a surprise. Like, what did I just put my finger down and do? It was wet. Yeah, just a few dots. I feel like that will get me to where I feel like I'm finished. Even if it's not completely dry, that'll make me feel better about walking away and saying, okay, that one's good. Let's come over here with some dots. And if everything were dry, I'd put my hand down on it, but I'm trying not to, so my dots are a little messier. That's okay, I like it anyway. Roar. Okay, I'm liking that. That's where I wanted to go, I think. That makes me feel like we're a little bit more finished than we were. Okay, so I love how we had same color palette, two different materials, types of materials, acrylic paint versus watercolor, two different surfaces, craft paper versus watercolor, and the dramatically different results that we get from the two different surfaces being so diverse there. So that was a super fun experiment, and these pages couldn't be any more different, and at the same time couldn't be any more similar with their colors. So I love it. So that's a super fun layout today. I hope you had fun painting with me. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.